Welcome back to this episode of Show and Tell After Dark. I want to have this. I want to start with asking Cornelia a question because from just the dialogue from today, it seems like you are the most official quote unquote business owner, and I know that that's not easy to do. So, what are some of the obstacles you had to overcome to not only merge art with business, but to even have started, a brick and mortar opposed to, doing what you do online?
Yeah, no, I need to, for people who don't understand the difficulty, that comes with, entrepreneurship in
Yeah.
general, but like with what I'm doing, like you said, bridging artists with a startup platform. Artists are very particular people, like guarded people when
Yeah.
it comes to their art. That's
We could be sensitive.
Yeah, no, and as you should, and
Right, as you should.
as you should. That's your whole life. That's your brand. That's everything. You know what I mean? You're not just gonna co-sign and just co-sign anyone who just says, "Hey, come in and I'm gonna," So there was a lot. Earning trust was the first difficult thing we had to overcome, and to do that, we just had to have one person allow us to give them a service. And from that have that as a in our report, to just showcase to someone else to be like, this is what I've done, with that
Right.
person. So that was last year. Last year, the struggle was to get our name out there, to earn trust, and to keep it going too. Because something that is extremely difficult in Boston is staying relevant because of the seasons. The seasons is especially right now, right? We're in the winter basically. That's a crush season. Basically, a lot of people are sleeping. A lot of people
Yes, sir.
are taking it, because
Yep.
there's not that much activity. So momentum dies, in the winter. So
Very true.
for me, it was just like I have the summer. I have to stay active as much as possible.
That's right.
We gotta take on whatever it is and keep in. You know what I mean? Because I don't wanna be starting over the next year.
That's right.
Because
That's
now
right.
you the same brand, you the same service, still asking people, and now people are looking at you kind of funny. That's how I took it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it like this is a do or die type of thing. You know what I mean? There's no next year.
That's
I
right.
have to accomplish my goal to get people on this platform this year, and yeah, and so I've gotten lucky with some connections and was able to impress people, and those were, and those people were you know it gave me the chance to to come into the platform. But so the first retail store was just a pop-up. It happened by accident. So my
Ooh.
friend, Kayla had a friend who, she's my business partner, also my sister.
What's up, Kayla?
Yeah.
What's up, girl?
So she had a friend who basically, she had a lease. She was stuck to a lease since the pandemic, and she was losing a lot of money, and she was basically, struggling to pay rent. And I always expressed to my sister how I always wanted to have a store attached to the whole online thing that that I'm doing. So and so to help her with her rent, we were able to have a space to and implement that new business model that I had, which was to just have a to the products being showcased with a QR code. And when people
Smart
come
idea.
in, they can scan the QR code that would lead them to our website, and they can make their purchase on their phone. So what that helps with is now the vendor, once a purchase is made, knows exactly what's been purchased in store, and they get a analytic, and we collecting a data that
Right,
way.
right.
So we know the customer's number, name, everything. You know what I mean? And that customer is now now they know that this marketplace exists because they literally just chop on it.
Right.
Now they're gonna be aware of other people in that marketplace, so they could go home and and go through it and make their purchase at home and come to pick it up in stores, or buy it in stores with. So it's just a system that works, and I call it the future of retail. And so there was someone else we were in communication with. They noticed finally that what we're doing and looked at us. Okay, they serious,
Right.
And that's how we got the Assembly Row location. They were like, okay, I see what you're doing there. Do you want this location? Even though it was a bigger location, and we didn't know that much vendors, the few vendors we had, we were like, we're gonna start with that, and we're gonna keep building on
That's
it.
right.
And we just kept on building, and allowing people to use our space to do pop-ups, events, connect, for someone with a small brand. When a marketing is extremely hard, like you only have access to your social media basically to do your marketing. That's it. And you only like basically promoting to the friends and family that you know.
Right.
And a big tip for any entrepreneur is that your biggest supporters are going to be strangers, not your families and friends. So you need to be in a space where there's going to be a lot of strangers. Usually those are events that allow pop-ups. Now you find yourself looking to find those events, packing yourself, go to these events, and then hoping to make a sale, when really the customer should be looking for you and not the other way around. So that's where retail comes in. It is a storefronts really helps vendors with to have a space where consumers gonna come in and find them, instead of you looking to go and find your customer and stuff. So it's helping people to earn passive income is extremely. That was the whole reason people got into the scene in the first place. I would assume, like, you don't want a second job, like, meaning like
right.
you have people already have jobs,
right. You're gonna work a 9 to 5 and then work a 5 to 9. That's
exactly
too much.
Exactly. Like, you wanted to do something that's gonna give you some some
right.
other income, but without you like having to work extremely hard for it.
Right.
And the hope for a lot of small businesses is that it's gonna get better. But so the other part of entrepreneurship is getting that that financial boost for funding. Thank you for your business, and you need to be able to impress someone, when it comes to that, because it doesn't matter if it's a bank gonna need to see some,
they're gonna see some period,
yes, something,
sir.
you know what I mean?
Yes,
so so now we just gotta keep like working hard on and getting those numbers, and then go and impress investors. So
can I ask you guys a question? The AI art that's going on, it's been trending, right? The AI art, you've seen it going on. Does that affect anything in the fashion industry, or does that affect you guys as artists or models and designers, fashion designers? Do you guys have any perspectives on that?
I'll say this briefly, and then I'll pass it to Nadra. Okay. I think that in 2020 there was an increase in virtual fashion shows and the use of AI programming and 3D. That's what it was. 3D art. There's this thing where Hanifa, for example, is
Is it Honey Fluff?
Yeah, Hanifa, Hanifa. They are a fashion brand. They had a show where the clothes were molded to a model. However, you could not see the model. It was just a body wearing the clothes, walking. And that is a very common practice now since 2020, because there was haute couture brands especially, as well as now just like everyday runway brands, they were saving money in terms of like shows. However, you're losing money because it's like who are your top buyers, who's gonna buy them.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
and yeah, the pandemic played a role in that. So I just wanted to add that context that like since 2020, there's definitely more technological investments. Yeah.
Excuse me. And to touch on that, aside from the pandemic playing a role in that, it also, and I've been looking into it myself because it eliminated. I mean, it could be costly, but if I can't have a photo shoot like every month or what have you, having that's the AI 3D. I don't know if they coupled all that together. The 3D, like she was mentioning, it's literally a 3D model and it's walking. There's movement. So how that helps, like let's say for example, if I don't have my clothes on a model, but I have it on a 3D form, when you're on my website, you'll be able to like pivot it and see how it looks. One of my biggest goal, which might be an industry standard, I don't know, being that I made to measure for my brand. If you were to go on the website and put in your measurement, I would love to see that 3D mold into your measurements. So then that way you could see what the clothes look like.
Right. Working with a developer.
That's beautiful.
Right. So that's one way it could have a positive impact on there. With the AI, I mean, that's just, I don't know, inorganic art, I guess. I don't know.
Inorganic art. Y'all don't fuck with AI?
I like it.
I mean, I don't know if y'all even seen it doesn't do hands very well. So if you look at all the AI artwork, if they have hands, it might be like a six finger.
Well, those AIs like
weird
kind of steal
thing.
from actual artists. in
Yeah,
general.
yeah. So,
I like it,
so
though.
that part, I mean, that having one of the biggest, the popular things that I saw was it was an AI of elders in a fashion show.
With the models wearing clothing. And we do know like that everything was affected on the planet, you know, during that time. As
During
far
that
as during that
That
time.
time that should not be named.
We'll just
Okay.
leave it like that during that time. But it's true. Everything got affected in many ways. And a lot of people found their creative flow then too, as well. Once they
Yes.
got grounded and sat for a moment with themselves instead of running from here to there.
That's right.
And so what Jazara just spoke about, the aspect of the creativity, the creative part of it. When we can find the creative essence in many things, that helps us expand and take things to another level. So that sounds really dope. People being able to go on your site and then like put in their own measurements and then boop, because then you have a connection with it, versus looking at a beautiful design with no one in it, which can, you know, make a disconnect really.
Right.
I as far as my designs, it would go into the category, I guess you would say, of Afrofuture.
Ooh.
So being more of an Afrofuture designer, if you will, I see how that can be assisting in how I design and take things to a more creative standpoint. So I think
amazing.
everything has its place.
Makes sense.
It's about what you do with it.
And Canelli, we talked about this like a little bit off camera.
Yeah.
We brought this conversation up together. Do you have a fear, or do you have or what do you think about AI?
No. To be honest, I'm extremely. This is an extremely exciting time for me personally because I hate being last with something. I always wanna be ahead of. It doesn't
Ahead
matter.
of the curve?
I have to exactly. So something that was very interesting for investors to hear about my company is the way I was collecting data. From
They
the
love
public.
that data.
Yeah.
You collecting data.
Data is important. So here's how right now I can visually see like my company's data, how it's doing, everything from an Excel sheet. But
Right.
I have have someone who did that for me. It was just beautiful to just for her to like click on what cities spending more money, like everything,
That's
you know.
amazing.
And so
Yeah.
data is information, you
That's
know,
right.
and companies need that to move forward, you know, so they're not guessing. So data is
right.
extremely important.
And so, how is AI playing a part of that?
So AI needs data to function.
Okay.
So AI is not, if you ask it a question or have it to do a task, it doesn't just do it. It needs to grab it from somewhere, understand what you're asking for, and then do it. You know.
Okay.
So so our company is collecting current data about who's shopping. You know what I mean? What they're shopping for, like, you know, how much they're spending, like, you know, data, right? So having feeding that to an AI technology that's gonna be able to help retailers to know what the trends are, and gonna be able to help buyers too, you know, once it's implemented on the app, to just ask a robot a question, you know, like,
Oh. Okay.
yeah. So it goes that deep. So I don't know if anyone is familiar with OpenAI.
What is
Heard
that?
of it.
Explain to me.
You heard of it? Okay. So there's been a company working to create AI for a while now, and they just opened it to the public. Basically, you go to openai.com, and they have some demos to show you how much, like, you know, what their technology can basically do. Okay, I've been experimenting with chat AI. Basically, it's a robot that is that can communicate with you, and you could ask it to create, you know, write your books, sentences.
Right.
So we're about to launch a new application that's gonna have AI on it, and the goal is when people don't wanna just in the future, people not gonna wanna search something. They're just gonna ask it, you know, just like you ask Siri for something.
Right.
Siri
Right.
has your phone data, so if you want to call your mom, you just ask Siri, hey, call my mom.
I was
It
watching
does
a
it, you know what I mean?
video, yeah.
But like, you can't ask Siri for like, yo, what's the best like clothing out right now
Yeah.
for me to wear, you know what I
Right.
mean? It doesn't have that data, so it can't. But like a website that's actively collecting data will literally be selling the trends, you know what I mean, for anyone looking for it, you know what I mean? And that's extremely valuable to companies, because that's something they can't just collect for themselves.
Can I butt in here for a sec?
Go ahead, bro.
Wait.
Nah.
So you just joined us. What's your name and what's your role in fashion?
My name is Yuki,
Yuki.
and I am a model and a personal fashion designer.
Okay.
What I mean by personal is that I normally just make stuff for myself.
Oh, my
You know what I
personal
mean?
fashion
I
designer.
like to have things people just don't have.
I feel you.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yeah, what I wanted to say, because I was understanding what you was getting at, but the only thing that was concerning me between like the data and the AI talk is that nobody's talking about where the creativeness is going to. Like, are we creating because we love to create?
Yeah.
From, you know, wherever our creation is coming from? Are we creating because we're trying to fix the people's needs?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
he's talking more as a business owner rather than a creative himself. He employs creatives, but he doesn't specifically identify as creative.
No, and it's cool if you just want to create for yourself. There's people out there who actually, you know, who wants to build a brand and make money, and they
Yeah.
need to know. It's just like in the year 2000. Imagine you then put your URL on Google. You know what I mean? Like, those are tips you need to know, because it's like, if you, let's say you're coming from the 90s and you go into the 2000s, you have a business, and you like, why the hell do I need to put myself on Google for? You know what I mean? But it's like,
Right.
no, people gonna go in and search, and they need to find what they're searching for.
Right.
I'm letting people know that this search engine thing is not gonna be what we know it. People gonna be relying on just
AI.
like you at home and you talk to your Alexa. You know what I mean? Like, people gonna relying on a robot to give them the information
Yeah.
because they don't want to Google it and be
Right.
reading through text.
Yeah.
But let's dive.
Yeah. And the best way for it to get that data is if you use it. Again, it has to learn you.
But let's dive into kind of what Yuki's saying and dive into what you're saying as
Yeah.
well. Because the question is that like, one, if you rely on AI art, will that hurt your community of like finding your community in art and fashion? Does that hurt your ability to like create community?
I feel.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Because no, go ahead.
I feel like for him that's not the right question because he's not using AI art. He's using just the intelligence aspect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really what the question is, and I want to hear you speak, Yuki, is what is the future of fashion? In general.
Doesn't that have an effect specifically on the community? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So you brought up AI. AI can obviously do many things, you know what I mean? And it is going to create competition with real artists. What I'm trying to say is that I want people to start educating themselves on how to have the AI have them in the conversation when the AI is going to be letting people know, you know what I mean, like about like what's going on and stuff like that.
Right. Why not?
If these are people that you're gonna employ, why wouldn't you guys be?
My thing is about the AI. I have no problem with it, but I feel like a lot of people don't think through on other people's aspects about it. So like from a modeling and clothing design aspect, it's not really that much of effective. If you just, I mean, if you're somebody that just make like printed on tees, then somebody can just make something better now. But other than that, it's like it doesn't really change anything that's creative because AI is not stitching something and using a 3D printer to make the stuff and stuff like that. So it's like, but from an artist's point of view, like people who do commissions and stuff like album covers and stuff like that, they're losing from that. You know what I mean? Because then people's
totally
like, oh, I can just make my own now.
Yeah.
Like, this is fire.
I
like,
can put what
like
I
this.
want in this system and it'll create me a piece of art based off what I typed in here.
Exactly.
And that's just like a baby step because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, if it's not hurting you, it's like, oh, okay, it's all right. But once it hurts you, it's like, oh, okay, hold on, we got to stop this. You know what I mean? So it's like from an artist's perspective, I can understand like the AI, how it's like it would tarnish what they do because like people are not going to them, they're losing money now.
Right.
And they got to find a way to be more creative and stuff like that. But from a business point of view, I mean, it makes sense because a business had to make that so that somebody can lose and they can gain.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now the only thing I wanted to talk about was the when you was talking about the AI, like being able like at this point you don't have to choose your outfit. The AI knows what you want. I feel like that's what I'm saying when you lose creativeness because now you're not thinking for yourself.
I totally agree.
Something is like distressing you now. But you do. I know where you're going with it though. It's like, oh, if I want to wear a black dress, cool, it's on. If I want to wear this, cool. That's one point. But we already know they're gonna, you know, iOS 17, iOS 18 that real quick, and then next thing you know, you're not really thinking for yourself, and that's where you try to lose from the creativeness.
Yeah, no, and it's that again. That's culture. I'm sure there's people out there who wants to be fashionable but don't want to put the time to think about how to be creative on what to wear. And yeah, asking an AI will, you know what I mean, do that for them.
So, I've always been into technology, but I always knew my limit. You know, I did graphic design, I did web design, I got into coding, and then I fell off, and then I was like, oh my gosh, all this new stuff, I can't keep up anymore. Yeah. You know, I was over here trying to keep up with JavaScript and what have you, and now here comes AI. 3D captured my attention because of the ability to model a product and see it without having to do it on a person 24/7 or on a mannequin, which I still love to do, you know what I mean? But just to showcase. AI, the downside of it, and I'm going to do a quick example. There was the AI, you know, we already know algorithms. So there's always a layer of, in everything that's being done, right? There's a layer of racism that goes into it. So white supremacy always creep their way into stuff, and algorithm is one of those. We see it with TikTok, we see it with Instagram, shadow banning certain words, certain things, whatever, especially when it's dealing with the culture and what we do. So there's an example where the AI and it's like straight out of a movie. It was predicting that this particular individual is more likely to commit crime. This is real. This is not like just some. And so they put him on a watch list, like an FBI watch list, based off of AI.
Wow.
And since that happened, that poor individual who ain't never been caught up in anything got shot twice.
Wow.
Because it was predicted to like,
and then was put on
From
a
AI.
list, and then whatever that triggered. You know, it's almost like when you put something out in the universe, like, oh, I'm going to do this, and you keep saying it, and it happens. You know,
So you're anti-AI, not because of the business aspect, because of like what it could possibly be in the future.
The dangers of it.
right?
Yeah, because all it takes is people to accept it,
Yeah.
little by
Exactly.
little, and then it's like, oh,
Exactly.
that's cool, that's cool.
So when we're looking at the positive side, yes, it's great. You know, ooh, technology. Look at all the great things that could happen. Let's look at who's creating. Let's look at who's behind it, who's controlling it. How is it going to affect us as human beings? And the level of laziness that human beings are falling into, I've never been a fan.
It's kind of scary.
So I'm going to be that person. I could say, oh, I'm going to learn this and understand this, but I'm always going to be that one who's going to be catering to that niche of people who don't care for all of that. You know, even if I had it down pack and I put it on my on my stuff, I probably will still fall back and do what I was doing organically before AI. You know, it's just like my biggest thing is, you know, with social media, we tend to gravitate to that to promote ourselves, and I've always been saying, but you still need to promote yourself as if social media never existed.
Right. Go out there. Go talk to people.
You know,
real people.
Organic.
Not computers.
Right. So the guerrilla marketing, still doing your flyers, and still, you know, if you have to send a gang of people out and just put like the dopest image you have with a QR code on it and stick it all over the place to get people like, yo, who's this?
Yeah.
Why are they popping up all over the place? Let me scan this real quick. You're using current technology, but you're also using old way of promoting yourself, you know? So with the whole AI thing, yeah, it's great. You know, like for the data, you know, like I'm, you know, being that I've always did my own web design, I stayed looking at my analytics. I stayed looking at where people are coming from. So I looked at data and I used it for the sole purpose of like saying, okay, this is where I need to improve and this is da-da-da-da. So if AI is able to help in that aspect, that's great. But the other things that comes along with it is what I'm kind of cautious about. And probably won't put that much emphasis and care into it.
Right.
You're just saying be careful about it. Gotcha.
At the end of the day, the only number one thing that sells is nostalgia. You know, so people's always gonna, even no matter how
Fantasy.
advanced we get, people want to go back. You know, so people want to go back physically to the markets and stuff.
Let's shift gears a little bit and get a little bit more personal. Because AI is scary. Nadra, you've been in the game for a little bit, and actually Shane recalls being in a show of yours a long time ago. What was that, 10 years ago? A minute. As somebody who's been in it a long time, what keeps you motivated and what gives you inspiration
AI.
to buy?
AI keeps me motivated. No. Motivation. What keeps me motivated and what keeps me
Inspired.
Inspired. Okay. Motivation helps you move.
Yeah.
Inspiration in spirit. Inspiration comes from within.
Ooh, that's a beautiful.
So, motivation to, for the love of creating. And, I got an idea. You know, those spurts of ideas that come, or, oh my gosh, I love this Amapiano song. And then you start dancing.
How do you get that? How do you get that idea? Do you just like, I just want to do this?
So that's the inspiration.
Okay.
So the inside job, it's the inside job. You know, sometimes you see, okay, you know what? I like the way he's wearing that hat.
Right.
Ooh, boop. That could be inspiration.
And then you make the hat.
Inside, you know what? Ooh, really large with a bigger band, and then it goes from there.
But how do you like even like put them on the shoulder? Was it shoulder? I think on the shoulder. It was really nice.
Yeah, that's
I
beautiful.
don't know if it has a
What was
name,
the
but it's my
inspiration for that?
shoulder.
Like, how do you find these inspirations to do these things?
I know what speaks to my soul.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And, you know, let's say if you're in a shopping mall, not every store is going to appeal to you.
Right.
True.
But then there's this one store, and it's like, oh wait, ooh, what color is that? Or like, oh, you know what? Is that a hat? I like hats. Boom. You get inspired. Okay. There's a tap on your shoulder. There's a knock at your door, and the mall, the stores, that's your house. That's your inside job, right? Okay? And so, like I said, it could be a song that I'm listening to. And I start dancing, and I'm moving around, and then you know what? It makes me think of how a fabric can flow when you move. Walking down the street or on the runway or just getting in and out of your car.
Yeah.
And inspiration happens like that. I love to create. I do. I love to create, whether it's with food, whether it's with clothes, or whether it's, dancing. I love to create. So when the inspiration hits, it literally could be this bag, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? That would be a bad skirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Literally.
So anything and everything can really be inspiration. But it really does start from the inside. You may see it on the outside, but it starts with the inside idea.
I'm just kind of wondering, like, where do you, like, so as a designer, you're doing things. I had this inspiration, and I was like, when are you like a fucking weirdo? And then when are you just like being fashionable?
I was always a fucking weirdo.
You know? So it just doesn't matter.
By other people's standards, not by mine.
Right.
By other people's judgment. By other people's judgment. But for me, it was doing what I liked. And I think, sometimes but sometimes people can forget. You have to be authentic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Authentic is important. It is. The essence in which that comes from within is vital. So, yes, culture, yes, music, literally looking at the sky, looking at the grass. I like I said, I love to create. I literally can see everything on this table, and it would be a dope pattern on a pair of pants. So you have to you have to envision, really. You have to be a visionary, and that speaks to my soul. That's how I love to create. And that's really how I create.
And what Nadra speaks to is a personal responsibility of everyone to be attuned to their environment. That's that in spirit.
Not just environment, but spirit. that part, that inner environment, if you will, if you want to call it environment. Because literally, like growing up in Roxbury, I seen a lot of stuff, but the grass and the trees always spoke to me. But that's because that was an inside job. So anything can give you inspiration. It really can. It's about what you do with it next. And that's where that movement comes in, that putting energy into motion.
That moves me. I was like, damn, I'm so plain.
No, you're not.
When
Just to label the whole thing, like.
And that's a beautiful thing. That's the authenticity. We that's what we need. We need that. We need you to be you, because I need to be me and you need to be you, and that's how it goes. That's what makes this dope ass puzzle that we call life. And that's why you can be intrigued and I can be intrigued by you. Like, oh, wow, look at her. You understand?
Right.
And that's what connects us. Literally, like a big puzzle.
Nadra, real quick. Are you? We're gonna get to you.
I was just gonna say that people always label things that they don't understand.
Yes.
That's all I was gonna say.
And I learned that as a teenager, because as a child, there was labels.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's different.
Yeah. That's the word.
Different.
Yeah.
She's an artist. No, listen. Literally, not too long ago. Literally, I'm Ethiopian. I remember. Love all my people. Some Ethiopians came over to me like, "Why are you dressed like this?
That's what they said.
And I said, I'm an artist. And they said, oh, and I understand that now.
Yeah.
I understand that because it's okay if you don't understand me.
That's right.
I'm good with me. I'm
That's
so
right.
good with me. But if I choose to help you understand me, then I'll use something to translate it, and I'll do it with love, because I mean it with all sincerity.
Yeah.
And so I'm not offended. You understand? And I know when somebody's throwing some stank
Yeah.
or some funk, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I can help you along too.
Right.
You understand? But people are, compassion is important. You understand? And yes, artists can be very sensitive about their, our stuff. But the real of it is, let's not forget compassion as a whole.
Yeah.
And when you're really coming from love, it's like, hey, it's okay. If you need some help trying to interpret it, what you're seeing, I'll help you out.
That's right.
It's me.
Right.
Or I'm an artist.
And we only have a few minutes left, but how have you guys found community in the things that you guys do in the fashion industry or whatever? How you guys feel? How have you guys found community?
I've met plenty of wonderful people as, being a model, and it's just like it's so unimaginable because it's like you meet people of different ages, different size, different everything, mindsets, like,
Yeah.
and you don't really think of that. You're just thinking like, oh, we're literally all in this together. It's like when you're in waiting for a job and you all trying to get an interview, and it's like, man, I'm not like worrying about these guys because they all just as scared as I am trying to get this
Right,
job. Like,
that's right.
like that's just really like automatically, like, you don't think of no levels, no matter who's in that room with you. And it's just like it's definitely an amazing thing because you can connect without even worrying about ice breaking and stuff like that because like you guys are all in the same spot.
Yeah.
So it's just like you definitely run into a lot of people a lot of good creators, a lot of good business entrepreneurs, a lot of good designers, and it's like everybody is on the same level or even more or less like scared or shy or they want to hold things to themselves because they're like, oh, I want you to steal my plan. I don't know you, even though we're on the same level. Like, it's like, it's like it's hard to express yourself because, like, if you know you're gonna do great, like, you're not worried about who hears what you're doing because at the end of the day, you're the only one who can accomplish it. But yeah, like that's just coming from like my aspect. Like I met a lot of great people, and I still like watch them to this day what they're doing and make sure that one day we can do some more work together and stuff like that. But yeah, that's just from my point of view.
No, I think models literally like because they're all coming in at the same point. Like you're able to like kind of like talk more. It's not really like a dick measuring contest.
Bye.
Community-wise, I would say
Okay.
definitely the connections. But I think what I value the most is the connection with clients who and I don't even like to call them clients or customers.
Yeah.
Because it becomes, especially the people who comes back, they like literally not rely, but they give me the okay to use them to express what I love to do. You know what I'm saying? Like they trust me. Like I got this event coming up. What did you got? What you got?
They're like honored guests almost.
Yeah. So that level of communication and the ones who are always there, like when I drop, and how they say it now, when I have new drops or whatever, they're like, ooh, and then they're like, I want this. So those communication it's always been great because it reminds me that I'm offering something that people want and need, and I'm helping them solve a particular
That's right.
problem.
And that is the businesswoman in you. Even though I don't know if you
yeah.
consider yourself to be a businesswoman or not, but you
I
are
think
solving.
I started considering and nourishing that part of me more now.
Because you are. If you're an artist, you're innately a business person. Period.
So just understanding, who I'm creating for.
Right.
And being able to deliver without compromising who I am.
Right, and you shouldn't.
Yeah. So, and even if it's just a small list of people, it's okay, because I have my own little club.
Right.
Like, yeah, these are my tribe. This is the people that I'm building with, and then of course growing it as time come along.
Makes sense.
Last question, the question that I really want to ask the most. Again, everybody here, from the designer to the models to everything in between, everything is a part of your brand. And whenever you're doing something, you're communicating something, you're giving something off. What do you guys hope your brand is communicating?
Say it in like 3 words.
Yeah, that would be very nice.
I don't know about 3 words, but community is one of them.
Yeah.
You know, I want to communicate that.
You want to communicate what?
Yeah, no, community, fashion, obviously, and just artistry, I guess. You know, just yeah.
Preservation, expression, and dignity.
Ooh, look at you. Nah, you're not gonna like laugh at that and not say yeah. What are you trying to communicate?
How do I say that in 3 words?
Nadja, what you got?
Love. I'm a love baby. That's anything I do, I put my love in it.
That's right.
That's like given. Vibes.
Ooh,
'Cause I like to bring the vibes.
love.
So that
vibes.
energy, that energetic, cosmic energy is vital in what I do. Some people may call it passion. So, love, vibes, and
The third one.
I would say oneness.
Ooh,
It's beautiful.
Yuki, what you got?
I'm gonna go with my boy always say his brand. And it's always the logo is Lay's Love Seeking Enlightenment. That's always the way. And my brand is Noah, which is nothing ordinary around here. And that's just what we show. It's just, you know, nothing but love seeking enlightenment. Just want to show more that what not just what we can do, but what you can do as an individual.
That's right.
Because like literally we can learn anything from anywhere right now. Like before we couldn't go hop on and go on Google and stuff like that. Like now you got like the opportunity to do that. So like instead of just watching, you can actually do it yourself.
Right. That's right.
So that's what we
Participate.
promote.
How about you?
Yeah, wait for you.
Culture, expression.
Ooh,
Culture, expression. It's the 2-part word. Natural beauty.
natural
Culture,
beauty.
expression, natural beauty. Period.
I like that.
I just summed it up.
I love it.
Where can everybody find you? Real quick. Let's make it 3 seconds. What's your Instagram? And you're a
Yuki
model, right?
Moore _
Give us the
Cujo.
drops.
Huh?
So give us a drop.
The drop. Yes, I'm a international model. You can follow me at Yuki Maracujo. Just make sure you're not following a random Asian guy.
Bye.
It should be me.
Bye.
But yeah.
The House of Nadra. NAHDRA. IG and everywhere else.
Okay.
You can find me in Bogo Split, BOGOSBLIT, and just DM us. We'll respond.
That's what's up.
And I am Jazara.fashionhouse, JAHZARA.
Beautiful.
Umoja Forever. UMOJAFOREVER.
Period.
You on your period?
I cannot stand you.
That was by accident. I
Bye.
did not mean
You
to
can
say
find
that.
me at the Real Cricket Smith, THEREALKRIKET Smith SMITH. And where can we find you, Aggie?
Show and tell Boston after dark.
That's it, baby. We
Keely
done.
and the Spelling Bee.